Hi, Assalamualaikum. Alright, this is the third submodule that is about conflict resolution. Okay, so what is conflict resolution? Okay, as the name, okay, the conflict resolution basically is how to solve if there is any conflict amongst the information or the knowledge that we gather from the experts. Okay, so you need to remember from the early of this subject, you have learned how to extract information from the expert, and then you also have learned how to represent this knowledge into certain format. Alright, and then that include the logic, the AOV, frames, and etc. Alright, and then we learn how a machine can actually deduce this information, infer to this information. So what happens if there are information or knowledge which are conflicting? Okay, so this is actually all the sources of uncertainty. It can be either because information is not enough to trigger a correct rules, okay, or the implication of our rules, that is the if then are weak. Alright, it also can caused by a language representation. Okay, the knowledge that we are extracting is not suitable with the representation that we chose. Okay, maybe there's no data about the information that was triggered at that time, or simply because expert opinion clashes. Okay, because we have 2 or 3 experts and some of them clash opinions. So how to solve this? Okay, some of it you have learned before. Okay, we have to measure the proof. Okay, this can be also carried out by using fuzzy logic. Okay, and we can also solve this problem by finding the probability values. Okay, we have learned this as well. So today there's another one methods of measuring the proof, which is the certainty factor. Alright, let's look at the conflict resolution. So conflict happen when 2 or more head in rules are similar. So when I say head, that is the if part. Okay, so the if part clashes with the other rules. Okay, for example, rule 1, if light is green, then proceed. Okay, number 2, if light is red, then stop. Okay, this is about the traffic lights. The third rule is if light is red, then proceed. Okay, so this is conflicting with rule number 1. Okay, if light green, then proceed. If light is red, then proceed as well. Okay, conflicting with number 2 is the head. Light is red, but the action is different. This one is stop, and the third one is to proceed. So how can we solve this? Because if you use a forward chaining, we will start with rule number 1. Okay, so if that condition light is red, we will look at rule number 1. Which one says light is green at that point of time? Okay, so only rule number 1, so they will proceed this. Okay, if that condition is the light is red, okay, so they will go from rule number 1, they go to rule number 2 because light is red, then automatically they will stop. But the other action will be taken if you use a backward chaining. Okay, the condition now is proceed. So if you want to find which rule says about proceed, there's rule 1 and rule 3. So they cannot deduce that the condition now the light is green or red. Okay, so there are few rules, okay, when we list down the rules or knowledge from the expert. First one, the higher position in queue would be read first by our machine. Okay, that means that's the priority. We put the higher position in the queue. Second one is a meta rules. Okay, that is a rules about the rules. The rules from expert are more important than the novice. Okay, and the third one is meta rules number 2. Saving life is always on top. Okay, any rules that is to save lives must be given a priority. Okay, a part of priority list, the machine learning will have to use the most recent update database, the most recent updated knowledge, and they will also try to match the longest matching rules. Okay, for example, you have two head, proceed and proceed. Okay, so they will find which one is the longest if. Okay, so if the first one, if only if A, then proceed. The rule number 10, if A and B and C or D, then proceed. They will use the rule number 10. Okay, try to fulfill rule number 10. Okay, do we need to consider this? Yes, very much, because it's a way of human thinking, and that's what makes our decision sometimes changes from situation to situation, but it's always correct. Okay, so we include this in rules. Okay, when we ask expert, okay, expert says this, okay, sangat bahaya, or mungkin akan, or sedikit bahaya, it's not accurate. Okay, so that's why we have come up with a fuzzy logic, okay, to measure the strength of the linguistic variables. Okay, so another usage is by using a certainty factor. Okay, sorry, there's a wrong spelling there. Okay, so what is certainty factor? It's just an integer to show level of confidence on a specific rules. Okay, so we says that 90% certainty factor or confidence factor, it will rain. Okay, so that means I truly believe that it will rain. Okay, again spelling, sorry. So total need not be 100. Okay, or 1. Okay, it doesn't need to be, it's not like a probability. It has to be 1. No. Okay, sometimes this is also known as belief and disbelief. Okay, the certainty factor or the confidence factor. Right. So if I say that 90% certainty factor, it will rain. Okay, and I can also say that, but I think 30% it will not rain. Okay, so it doesn't have to be 100. Okay, so let's look at certainty factor with condition. Okay, the rules or knowledge are more important than the certainty factor itself. Okay, certainty factor is just a support. The rules is more important. Okay, and belief and disbelief are mutually independent. Okay, that's why I say, if I say my certainty factor for it will rain is 90%. Okay, and because it's mutually independent, I can say that my certainty factor, I'm confident about 30 to 40% that it will not rain. Okay, so because it doesn't related with my belief of it will rain. Okay, so let's look at an example here. Okay, example of how to deal with certainty factor with N rules. Okay, if inflation is high with a certainty factor of 0.5, N, okay, there's an N here, and unemployment rate is more than 7% with the CF of 0.7, and bond price falling, okay, with a CF of 1, then share prices will decrease. Okay, so this is a rules about share and stock market and etc. Okay. Okay, so all head need to be true. Okay, because it's N. Okay. And then the certainty factor on tail is the minimum of all in the head because it's N. Okay, so if you want to know what is the certainty factor or the confidence factor to say that share price will decrease, okay, it is the minimum of everything we have on the head. Okay, so in this case, what is the certainty factor that a share price will decrease? You have here in the head part, you have 0.5, 0.7 and 1. If it's an N, you have to take a minimum, so that means the certainty factor for the tail part will be 0.5. Okay, how about OR? Okay, if it's OR, that means only one of the head part is true. Okay, at least one. And the CF value for the tail part is the maximum between the among the head part. Okay, so for this case we have 0.7 and 0.85. Because it's OR, we will take CF 0.85 to say that the share price will increase. I hope you can understand this. Of course, I will give you some quizzes and exercise to write about the sensitivity factor. Alright, that's all. Thank you.